G'day guys, PBX here. I'm back and my wife tells me I play way too many video games. Today I'm bringing you a domination. This time it's on drive-in. One of the map pack maps on this particular game, and I'm using the M16, and I've always loved the burst fire rifles. I'm a little bit reluctant sometimes to use the Type 95 in Modern Warfare 3 because everyone seems to whinge about it, and I mean, I've used the M16 plenty of times as well. The thing with the burst fire rifles in Black Ops is they had one really big downfall, and that was the crappy hit detection in this game. So often, yes, you were able to hit high and get a one-hit kill, but a lot of the time, unless you're on a fairly good connection, the burst fire rifles were pretty much useless. I mean, the G11 in a really good player's hands was certainly very competent on a good connection. The M16 wasn't really all that popular, although I think I used the absolute shit out of this gun. You'll probably notice I don't have a gold, and the reason that is because I switched up this class just before this match. I thought, I haven't used the M16 for a while, so I thought I'd give it a go. And unfortunately, the issue again is the same issue with any Call of Duty these days, and that's every son of a bitch leaves as soon as they get killed once or twice. I absolutely despise rage quitters. In fact, anyone that rage quits while I'm in the game with them, I actually delete them immediately from my friends list. So I can't stand people who believe that they're entitled to get kills if clearly all they keep doing is dying. So I think that the only way to fix this issue isn't for players to become a little bit more ethical, because that's never going to happen. A nice little nade here. Watch this one. Watch it. Ready? Now, pay attention to that, because I'm going to hit that one again in a minute. The problem with Call of Duty these days is that people believe they're entitled to get kills even when they're not. So you do find that you go through 3 or 4 teams every bloody lobby. You go through 3 or 4 host migrations a game. The only way to fix it, and pay attention to this, here it is again. The only way to fix it is to put in dedicated servers. I wish to God they'd do that. It'd absolutely change the dynamics of the game completely, because you'd find that while a lot of people consider certain guns overpowered and certain guns not, you'd find that on a really good connection each and every game, you might find a lot of people will start to use guns like the M16, like I love to. You might find that they might start to use some of the weaker SMGs. I remember using the, what was it called? I think it was called the PM9 or PM63, or I don't know, one of the SMGs on this game. It had pretty good iron sights, and it was a gun that I loved to use when given the opportunity, but unless I was actually host, the gun was completely useless. So to get beaten by assault rifles close range, to get beaten by LMGs close range, and basically, if you're on a dedicated server, so I get totally ripped off there. If you're on a dedicated server, you'll find that the guns that aren't being used as often will actually start to be used. So you can jump into a Battlefield Bad Company 2 game, for example, which is on dedicated servers, and you'll find that you won't be killed by the same weapon over and over and over again, and that's something that Call of Duty really lacks, and it's unfortunate. I'm someone that I absolutely love using all of the guns. In fact, my favourite gun in this game was either the Commando, which wasn't all that popular. I didn't use it with a silencer, I used it with red dot instead, and used it kind of like I use the M16. The other gun I loved using was the Scorpion in this game. No one believes me when I say I love using the Scorpion. I find it was absolutely amazing gun. It was like an ACR from across the map. It had that little recoil. The thing with the Scorpion, though, is the same problem you had with that PM63 or whatever the hell it was called, and that was that unless you're on an ideal connection, you'd lose gunfights to guns like I've just done then, which was the AK-74U or the MP5 Rapid Fire. Those were the 2 guns that really overpowered the SMG section within Black Ops, and nice little shooting there. If they put in dedicated servers, Call of Duty will become reborn. I seriously believe that that's pretty much what's wrong with the game at the moment. Not so much the, the people using the Type 95s or the people using the MK14s or the FMG9s. As soon as you bring dedicated servers into play, as soon as you have a neutral playing field happening, you'll certainly see the entire context of the game change. So I do hope that with Black Ops 2 that, or whatever the hell we're going to start calling it, that they do implement dedicated servers. I think Call of Duty is really falling behind a lot of the other shooters. I know that Homefront 2 is going to have dedicated servers to begin with, and I hope to God, and I seriously hope to God, that they implement it in the next Call of Duty. It's something that I look forward to if they do make that significant change. I don't really want to talk that much about the gameplay. The gameplay is boring as sin, and the only reason that is, and it is related to the dedicated servers issue, is you'll see me do a scoreboard check at the end of this. Actually, only 3 players on the other team towards the end of this match. So I think the score that I pull out because of that is quite impressive. It's not a rushing gameplay. The M16's not designed to be a rushing type of weapon. So you do need to start to learn how to play each and every weapon to its own merit, to its own strength. And you will find that your consistency from game to game will improve. So I think the final score is going to be a 50-something and 3 or something, fairly high KD like that. And you'll find that using assault rifles will generally tend to lead to higher KD games than SMGs the majority of the time, or across a number of games. You might find that. What happens is the assault rifles enable you to beat the SMG from a longer range, but they certainly don't give up the potential to win from shorter ranges either. The key I find with using assault rifles like the M16, which isn't overly strong, or let's say for example the Commando, which compared to the FAMAS has absolutely nothing on the FAMAS in Black Ops, what you've got to do is you've really got to use cover effectively. When you're expected to be in a close quarter battle, you've got to be one step ahead of the opponent. So you've got to actually be expecting them to come around the corner with their SMG, and the majority of the time you're still going to be able to compete with them short range, as long as you have that awareness about you. What you'll find, compared to when I'm using the SMGs, the assault rifles, I tend to do a lot less running. I'll still move around a fair bit, and as you can see, I consider this fairly campy gameplay, but you can see that I have moved a fair way around the map already, and it's only sort of, the map's still going, or the match is still going, so you can still move, but you don't want to be, we call it overextending, the player overextending themselves. And what that means is someone with an assault rifle running a greater distance than expected over an area that's doesn't supply any cover. For example, if you use this for an example, an assault riflist running straight from A to B may be overextending themselves because they're not able to consistently win the short range battles across the... it's really hard to explain. I'm trying my best to explain it. Overextending basically means that you're running too far, essentially. When you're running too far, you're leaving yourself open to be killed by someone who's not running. Because when you're running, the time that it takes to bring the gun up to aiming down sight is a lot longer period of time overall than if you're bringing that same gun up to aim down sights from a standing start, for example, or from a walking start. What you'll also find with assault rifles, and the best way to use them, is some certain assault rifles actually prefer to be shot from a kneeling position. Guns like the Galil, for example, in this particular game, guns like the CM901, even the M16 in Modern Warfare 3, you find that if you're actually firing them from a kneeling position, you'll find that their recoil becomes quite a fair bit more manageable. Another really good example of this in Black Ops was actually the MP5. And I mean, some of the kills I'm able to get with the MP5 in this game is just absolutely amazing, because I know to try and go into a kneeling position before I start firing from long range. And what the kneeling position and even the prone position as well will do is actually eliminate a fair bit of the recoil associated with the gun. So again, that's something else to keep in mind. I hope you guys enjoy the tips that I bring. Sometimes they're a little bit hard to explain, but if you do want further clarification, please leave it in the comments below. Also, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, all that stuff that helps the channel grow. Final score today was a 52-3 with 4 captures and 13 defends. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time.